not much of a reader. Like these guys notice I don't like reading.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I got it
read
in audio.
the fuck
It's only
out of
about
this
5,000 hours.
Is it you? Is it you reading it?
Well, I read the first chapter and the last two chapters.
Okay, cool. Okay,
the last two chapters are about psychology and emotion and the power of the mind, with placebos. Because most people, they underestimate what they can do with their mind. Like I'm sure you know, placebos, they were started in World War II. They weren't started, they were discovered in World War II. Because this surgeon had all these guys dying and he ran out of morphine. And if you don't have morphine, people go into shock and die, and also they're in massive pain. And it wasn't even the surgeon, it was the nurse. She handed him a saline solution. He thought it was that and said, here, we found some more. She just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He believed it. So he turned to these people and said, you're gonna be out of pain in just a matter of seconds or minutes. We're gonna make it, none of them went into shock. Most of them were out of pain, and all he got was a saline solution. So after the war, he went back to Harvard and started studying this, and he started the studies that are now standardized, where you compare a drug, to a placebo.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is, nobody reports about this because there's lots of drugs that placebos are more effective, but you don't make billions selling a placebo, right?
Yeah.
And
Has anybody tried that?
well, they actually have. They did one study where it said placebo, and people responded. But what they found is the bigger the intervention, the more your brain believes and changes your biochemistry. So a small pill versus a larger pill, big difference. An injection, even bigger reaction. False surgery, the VA did a placebo surgery where they took a third of the people for arthroscopic surgery and they just cut up their skin and sewed it, never did anything to the knee. It's in the book. A year later, guess what? The people who had the least amount of pain, who were most recovered and said their life was the best, were the people that didn't have the surgery. So the VA doesn't cover it anymore. They don't fund it anymore because it doesn't work.
So what's the takeaway? Is it the
takeaway,
power of the mind?
Power of the mind. Yeah. It's even stronger than Harvard did a study where they gave people barbiturates. Body's gonna drop through the floor, right? Big red pill, really large, and said, this is an amphetamine. In every single case, their body sped up as if they had amphetamine. So it's not even a placebo. Wow. It's the power of the mind to change it. There was a guy who I interviewed, you guys would know because you're a lot younger than I am, but there's a guy named Norman Cousins you may have heard of from UCLA. He's very famous. There's buildings named after him. He's kind of like one of the fathers of psychoneuroimmunology, how your brain affects your immune system. And I met him because of the firewalk. He couldn't believe it. He came and really loved it. So we developed a friendship and I interviewed him. And back in those days, there weren't podcasts. So I did this thing called Power Talk, this little series. And in it, he said, Tony, it's even more powerful than you think. Our beliefs can make us sick and our beliefs can be viral to other people. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you know how somebody yawns and then you find yourself yawning, or somebody's laughing, it's not that funny, but they're having such a good time, you find yourself laughing.
I looked at me when you said that.
I know.
You were looking at me one time, not one time, and then he goes, when they're not funny. And he turns back.
I'm glad you picked that up. It was a subtle signal for you. But what he said was, I'll tell you an example. He told his example, I'll never forget. He went to this college football game and somebody got really sick, projectile vomiting. It was so obvious in the stands. We were like, oh my God. And they called the doctor, and the doctor came, this staff doctor, and he's talking to the guy trying to figure out what caused this. And there was nothing different in his life except one thing. Like an hour before, he went and got a Coke from the vending machine. This is like halftime at a football game. And so the doc theorized, holy shit, maybe that vending machine's got rotten chemicals in it or something. So in order to make sure no one else got sick, they announced it over the loudspeaker to the whole football stadium, all the audience. Guess what?
Everyone
he said it was in 5 to 10 minutes. It was like a movie. People projectile vomiting. I swear to God, all over the place. 12 ambulances came to take people to the hospital. And about an hour and a half later, they did an analysis and found there was nothing wrong with the machine. So they announced it. And guess what? Within an hour, everybody was well.